Hello. I'm going to talk to you now about a device in writing called the Rhetorical Triangle. This triangle assembles elements of rhetoric, which we can define as the study of tactics in an argument. Incidentally, let me take a second here to define argument as an attempt to convince or persuade a reader. Importantly, we can remember the difference between an argument and a fight. An argument is a series of reasoned statements in pursuit of a particular result, and a fight is a dispute between two people. It's important to know that difference in this particular class. Now, the ancient Greek thinkers who invented the rhetorical triangle thought, as we do, that we can benefit from this study of tactics to help us develop our skills of critical thinking. By looking at how an argument works, we can more accurately develop our skills of thinking about that argument and criticizing it in a useful way. Now, we call this the rhetorical triangle because it consists of three elements, which we use the Greek names for: logos, pathos, and ethos. The ancient Greek thinkers judged arguments by how clearly they use all three of these aspects. They figured that an argument was like a three-legged stool, a stool that cannot stand without each of its three legs being the same length. An argument can't really stand without each of these three elements working to the same degree. With that in mind, let's take a look at what these names actually mean and how these elements work together. Logos refers to how an argument uses thinking. We can see this Greek name's similarity to our word logic, so that can help you remember the relationship between logos and thinking. When we consider an argument's use of logos, we consider whether that argument seems to think in a way that makes sense. If the argument thinks in a way that seems to lead logically, rationally, from its base to its conclusion. Pathos refers to how an argument uses feeling. To help remember that connection between pathos and feeling, we can remember the English word pathetic, or full of feeling. When we think about that element of pathos in an argument, we think about how the argument appeals to our emotions in that effort to convince or persuade. And we can ask ourselves if the argument appeals to those feelings in a fair way, or if it tries to manipulate our feelings in an unfair way and thus damage the argument. Finally, ethos refers to what we see an argument doing. It refers to the argument's behavior. And for the sake of memory, we can relate that Greek name to the English word ethics, or the study of behaving correctly. When we look at the element of ethos in an argument, we look at how the argument, as I say, behaves. We consider how it quotes from sources, how it cites those sources, and other issues of honesty in how the argument presents information. So when we look at logos, we think about thinking. When we look at pathos, we think about feeling. And when we look at ethos, we think about doing. Now, as we construct arguments, we can use the rhetorical triangle as a device to help us judge what we hear or say. As our work together progresses, we'll look more closely at each of these elements and how the triangle that they form works in our project of critical thinking. I hope this lecture has helped you to start applying this ancient Greek idea to your current thoughts about reading and writing. As you see arguments, and we see arguments almost every day in our lives, think about how these elements of the rhetorical triangle, how logos, pathos, and ethos combine to make the argument as effective as it is. Maybe you'll see something missing in an argument. Critical thinking has begun with these ancient Greek elements, and I hope that this lecture has helped you see how they work in current thinking and in current reception of arguments. As always, thank you for your time and attention.